Hello, and welcome to coverage of the Cycorp Swiss Open for Custom Standard. I'm Caillou, and today we're going to be watching the round 1 match between Matt, who is on MonoGreen Aggro, and TikiShades, who is on Black-White Vehicles. So the game's already started. Matt has opened up the game with us a high Wayfarer, 2-1 for 1, which still has late-game application due to focus. Then Tiki has a Black Watch Ace, which can't block, but becomes a 3-1 as soon as a Tiki controls a vehicle, so it's very strong. So Tiki is going to Wander the Unknown, which is basically Path to Exile, the Sahai Wayfarer. I think that was a mistake, because Tiki did after block, so Tiki gets no damage through. Sahai Wayfarer is super low impact, and ramping Matt when Matt is on like a reasonably like chunky Stompy deck is probably a bad idea, because it gives Matt access to like threats that Tiki will have more trouble getting over. So I think overall that was like a mistake from Tiki on like multiple levels. Ooh, interesting. Playing Elipo Ono, Shrouded Haven. So this is a way to like go big later in the game to like pump up your like crewers. Anyways, but ooh, Tiki playing MX Dreadnought, flying haste vehicle. Gonna crew it with the Black Watch Ace and swing in for 3. Problem is, of course, because of Tempered Onkelim, Matt was able to drain Tiki for 3 life last turn, so Matt is ahead in this race. The flying is good versus Matt's deck, because I don't think in the main Matt has any reach creatures to be able to block this. So yeah, Matt is just going to play Sprawling Coils and swing in with a Tempered Onkelim. Might be asking, why is Matt playing a fetch land in a monocolored deck? Well, the reason for that is a card called a Sacrificial Bull, which exiles land cards from graveyard in order to pump itself. Anyways, Matt played a second Tempered Onkelim, this time gaining back the life. Interesting choice. I feel like since Matt is trying to race and is ahead, that I mean it works either way. Like gaining life or draining Tiki both work, but I feel like draining Tiki would have been better just to like speed up that clock. Matt might have been thinking that Tiki has like some ways to recoup that life loss, but it's proving to be interesting. I was about to say it's proving to be the right decision, because I thought Tiki would Whispers of the Enteraki onto the MX Dreadnought, and I feel like that is the correct play. Because so Germinate basically means create a Saproling or a 1/1 token. And I think maybe 1, because then you can attack with both Black Watch Ace and MX Dreadnought. But I think Germinating once on MX Dreadnought makes sense, because I don't think that Matt has any removal other than maybe a fight card. And even then, MX Dreadnought having flying like makes it way scarier than what Matt has. But they're going to swing out for 6 there. Now both players are on a similar clock, except now Tiki here has the Saproling to be able to block one of the Tempered Onkelims, and therefore Tiki potentially has the faster clock now. Notably though, Tiki is down to 2 cards in hand. Meanwhile, Matt has 5. And Matt is going to get even more with his Explorer's Reward for 4. So Explorer's Reward allows you to journey X times, where journeying essentially means that you put a card from the top of your deck into exile, and then whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, you can put a card exiled this way into your hand. Also, Explorer's Reward has a secondary special effect in that you can put a creature with converted mana cost X or less that's journeyed this way onto the battlefield. So you get immediate value, such as putting this Wandering Warden onto the battlefield. So yeah, Matt is going to swing out with both Tempered Onkelims. Tiki is going to chump block with Saproling. Matt still gets to, because Matt dealt combat damage to Tiki with 1 creature, still gets to take that Digital Witness that was journeyed and put it into his hand. So Matt has like really good card advantage here. I think it's basically up to Tiki to close out, like find a way to like really speed up this clock. Can't even Elipo Ono onto MX Dreadnought. Could do it onto Black Watch Ace, potentially. No, okay, it's going to tap 3 for a Tempered Onkelim of Tiki's own, drain Matt, and then swing in for 6. That puts Matt dead next turn. So I think Matt will. Oh no, yeah, can't attack with the Blackwatch Ace because Wandering Warden will just block it. So swings out with the MX Dreadnought. Um, Matt could still potentially be dead next turn because Tiki can pump up Blackwatch Ace, or like, can pump up Blackwatch Ace, or and then like swing in with everything. And then if Matt swings out, won't be able to block. But right now Matt is in a good place because can block as well. Tiki is at 9, which means if Matt somehow gets through all 3 of his attackers here, we'll be able to kill. But Tiki does have 1 blocker. Oh, yeah, because Blackwatch Ace can't block. So Tempered Onclum, if Matt does have, I think it's Eli's Grit, is a fight card. If Matt has Eli's Grit, could send the Wandering Warden at Tempered Onclum. Oh, but I guess doesn't have it. It's just going to swing out for 9. Blackwatch Ace can't block. So that's not actually a legal line. So Tempered Onclum can only block Tempered Onclum. So Tiki made a misplay there by assuming that the Blackwatch Ace could block the other Tempered Onclum. But Blackwatch Ace does have that important line of text, can't block. This does mean that Tiki is dead on board next turn. Actually, what Tiki could do is leave Blackwatch Ace up to crew MX Dreadnought, and then have the Sapling as a chump blocker. But yeah, that still puts Tiki in a really bad position because then Tiki is like trading with 1 creature, Sapling chump blocks another, and Matt has a digital witness, so can re-upload the tempered. Oh, this actually is Matt 1 mana off, or does Matt have the exact amount of mana that Matt needs? Because if Matt has, oh no, if Matt had 1 more land there, Matt could have gone Tempered Onclum, or like download Tempered Onclum and then cast it. Instead, Matt is going to play another Digital Witness from his hand, uploading Explorer's Reward, and play out a Sacrificial Bull from his hand. Next turn, Matt just wins, I think. I don't think that Tiki has anything that can stop this. Even if Tiki like has a Tempered Onclum to gain 3 life, but actually, let's look at what that looks like. If Tiki has a Tempered Onclum, gains 3 life, goes up to 6. Next turn, Matt uploads Tempered Onclum, or downloads Tempered Onclum, plays Tempered Onclum. I think that basically takes up all of his mana because it's a 5 out of 6. Drains Tiki for 3. Tiki has 3 blockers in the form of Tempered Onclum, MX Dreadnought, and Saproling. And Matt will have 5 creatures that can attack, which will get in 4 damage. So yeah, Matt just wins next turn. I don't think there's any line that saves Tiki here. And yeah, Tiki just concedes. We're going to a game 2. Okay, let's look at sideboards real quick. So on Matt's side has Pithing Needle to be able to turn off any vehicles that may be problematic. Obstinate Baloth is also really good in this matchup because gaining life in an aggressive matchup while also putting down a body that's huge, pretty good. Same with the Refuge Warden. I think both of these are probably more in there for mono red, but I could see Matt bringing them in here because it's such an aggressive matchup. Naturalize and Plummet are also strong. Plummet to be able to kill any of the flying vehicles that Tiki has, and Naturalize just to be able to kill vehicles just straight up. So I think Dryad's Blessing is a fog as far as I know. Yeah, so I think that's more for like mono red or other matchups. Adventurer's Rest also gains life. Epic of Jabaya kills enchantments. Collapse the Pillars is another way to kill artifacts and enchantments. So I think some number of Pithing Needle, these 3 creatures, Naturalize, Adventurer's Rest, Collapse the Pillar, Epic of Jabaya, all of those are great. So Matt's sideboard is basically teched the hell out for this matchup. Now let's look at what Tiki has. So Tiki has Boiling Outflow, which I don't think is good in this matchup. It creates a bunch of chump blockers, so might bring it in for that reason. I think I don't know. I'm not sure what the Boiling Outflows are for. maybe having chump blockers each turn will help. Out of date as removal, I think, is coming in for sure. Not sure what the Whoop if decompositions are for. Imperial Brutality is good versus mono red, but I think most of Matt's creatures are going to be bigger than 2/2. So basically, out of date is essentially a point and click kill spell, while Imperial Brutality is all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. So I'm not certain, but I think that how this will end up playing out is Tiki brings in maybe 1 Imperial Brutality, 2 out of date, and then depending on how Tiki's feeling about the matchup, brings in the Boiling Outflows. So that's my thoughts on sideboarding. I will say I think that Matt is incredibly favored out of the side here because it has tools to deal with basically just about everything that Tiki has. So Tiki, I think, just kind of has to have the nut draw in order to be able to beat Matt, especially given how much card advantage Explorer's Reward gives to Matt, an ability to rebuild. So getting into game 2 here. So Tiki is going to keep at 7, while Matt is going to keep at 6, and it doesn't seem like it's a good 6 since Matt is saying keep at 6, I guess, and did take a little bit to think about it. So things could be looking rough for Matt's opening hand here. So Tiki just going to lead with the planes and pass. Doesn't have a turn 1 play. These aggressive matchups, having those turn 1 plays really does matter. But Matt is just going to respond with a Vibrant Locale of his own and then pass. Yeah, I guess, and that's the problem with these fetch lands, is that without a Sacrificial Bull, they become much weaker, and they do slow Matt's deck down. So turn 2, Tiki is tapping out for a Breaker of Cities. 3/3 with Trample that creates a 1/1 white soldier whenever it hits a player. Really strong card, and it gets to start swinging out next turn. And it does, of course, create things to crew itself. And of course, the fact that the soldier tokens have vigilance is also really good, which means you can attack with them if your opponent doesn't have a blocker on your turn, and then on your opponent's turn, have them up to crew Breaker of Cities as a blocker. Oh, and Matt's search for a Luahu Trail, which is essentially a forest which scries on ETB, plays another Luahu Trail from his hand, but importantly does have the Collapse of Pillars to kill the Breaker of Cities. I think if Tiki had been able to keep that around and crew it this turn, the game might have just gotten out of hand for Matt. Unfortunately, Tiki has yet another Breaker of Cities. So, but Matt has another Collapse the Pillars, fortunately. The exact same scenario playing out back and forth. But Matt doesn't have a 2-drop? Oh no. And meanwhile, Tiki, it just passes back to Tiki, and Tiki's going to play a Tempered Oncolim. And yeah, drain Matt for 3. Just when you're on the play, just put that pressure on them, especially when Matt doesn't have any board presence. Tapping 4 for Obstinate Baylock? Yeah, it did bring in the Obstinate Baylock, though. And that gains back all the life that Tempered Oncolim drained, +1, and has a bigger body than Tempered Oncolim. Tiki does have, like, Whispers of the Enteraki, though. Oh, but no, it's going to tap out for Atari's Amplifier. So basically, it just becomes a 5/5 next turn. Normally, it gains the keywords of whatever creature crewed it, but Tempered Oncolim doesn't have any keywords. Meanwhile, Matt is going to focus the High Wayfarer, basically pay 3 for it in order to draw a card, and then passes. I was going to say I was surprised that he didn't attack with Obstinate Baylock, but then I forgot Tiki could totally just crew Atari's Amplifier and kill Obstinate Baylock. Oh, and Tiki has another Tempered Oncolim. Going to drain Matt, and then probably... Oh, go to end? Huh, interesting. I guess I'm surprised because I thought that Tiki would like crew the Atari's Amplifier and then swing out with the first Tempered Oncolim plus Atari's Amplifier. Even if Matt double blocks with the Sahai Wayfarer and Obstinate Baylock, you're still up on board, so I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Meanwhile, Matt is going to play a Sporeful Protector and a Sacrificial Bull. Sacrificial Bull will start making good use out of the fetch land that's in Matt's grave. Sporeful Protector is just good at exiling stuff in general. So Tiki's going to play a Blessed Mausoleum, pay 1 to have it enter untapped, and then pay 3 for a Vein. So Vein is really good. it can either create tokens to just like pump out to crew, or it can untap creatures and give them like first strike so that they can profitably block Matt's stuff. Tiki is just going to create a soldier. Again, I wonder if Tiki should have just like given one of the Onkelim's first strike, so that Matt was further disincentivized from attacking. Especially now that Matt can like Spore Flow to selectively like pump Obstinate Baloth and then make it into a 6/6, and then swing out and then force like and then like force Tiki to like lose at least 2 creatures if Tiki wants to kill it. So Matt is just gonna swing with the Obstinate Baloth at the Vayne, probably hoping that Tiki would block with the Tara's Amplifier. In response, Matt is gonna probably double Germinate. Yep, exiling 2 Collapse of Pillars from his grave, 2 Breaker Cities from Tiki's grave, pump it up to a 6/6, Atari's Amplifier dies. This is why Tiki should have also blocked with the Soldier, because otherwise the Obstinate Baloth survives here. Tiki might have forgotten that Sporeflow Protector can exile stuff from Tiki's own grave as well, not just Matt's, and therefore might not have seen that line and thought, okay, I'll just trade the Atari's Amplifier. So yeah, Tiki just loses the Atari's Amplifier. Unfortunate. Fortunately, Tiki does get to keep Vayne because Obstinate Baloth doesn't have Trample. And now I think Tiki is definitely solidly on the back foot. All the creatures are too small to profitably block Obstinate Baloth. Would have to like double block with Tempered Onkelim, and then they'd be severely behind on board. I think Tiki had the situation like really well locked down, and then just threw it away. So Tiki is gonna play a Breaker of Cities. Good with the soldier tokens, however, the trample doesn't really matter as much because I think next turn Matt can pump Sacrificial Bowl to be able to trade with Breaker of Cities. And then the Tempered Onklims will just get chumped by Obstinate Baloth. So combat Tiki is going to swing out with both the Tempered Onklims. Knows that Matt would have to trade or like would have to block with 2 creatures in order to kill one of them. Matt could block with Spore Flow plus Sahai, and then dump the Sahai to be able to kill a Tempered Onkelim. The thing is also main 2 Tiki probably just +1's Vayne, untaps one of them, and then has it as a blocker for everything except Obstinate Baloth. Whoa, it's triple blocking? 1 Tempered Onkelim? I guess the playing around Whispers of the Enteraki is what Matt is doing. But yeah, that way Matt has to lose 2 creatures instead of if Matt only blocked with Spore Flow and Bull, or Spore Flow and Wayfarer, would only have had to lose 1. So maybe Matt just like overthought that situation with but I guess Matt didn't want the same situation that happened to Tiki to happen to him. And main 2, Tiki is going to +1 Vayne, untap Tempered Onkelim, and give it +1/+1 on first strike. So now it blocks the Spore Flow Protector profitably. And yep, just goes to end. Also notably, this means that if Tiki like Matt still has to play around the Whisper of the Enteraki, does have the mana to be able to germinate once by exiling Tiki's or like Matt has the mana to germinate twice, but I'm thinking like could germinate once to buff Obstinate Baloth and then attack in and then not have to worry about first strike damage killing the Obstinate Baloth. Instead plays a Wandering Warden, and then we find out that the instant that Tiki was holding up wasn't Whispers of the Enteraki, but was Raise the Alarm, so creates 2 more soldier tokens. It has an MX Dreadnought. is going to +1 Vayne again on the Tempered Oncolim, and probably going to crew the MX Dreadnought with a soldier and then swing in for 3. Yeah, I can't attack with anything else because unveined, Tempered Oncolim doesn't get over. It still doesn't get over Obstinate Baloth. But Breaker of Cities gets chumped by both Obstinate Baloth and Wandering Warden. So MX Dreadnought is the only choice because it has flying. So Matt will go down to 12. Tiki is still sitting pretty at 20. So Matt is going to attack with the Wandering Warden, assault it, so it gains indestructible until end of turn. Tiki probably just chumps with a single soldier, is my thought. There's no reason not to, because Wandering Warden doesn't have trample. And if Tiki lets it through, then Matt can just germinate at instant speed and then buff it to a 5 power, kill Vayne. Main 2, Matt's going to play Tempered Oncolim, gain back 3 life, so of course Tiki's just going to whack it back down with the MX Dreadnought next turn. Matt's creatures not having trample right now is a big problem. I don't know if Matt has a way to give them trample. I don't think so. But yeah, without trample, it's a bit of a dicey situation. Also, in these stally situations, I think Tiki is favored because Tiki has Out of Date and Wander the Unknown to be able to kill Matt's blockers before going in. Interesting. So Tiki is going to +1 Vayne on the MX Dreadnought, making it 4 power. So he's going to swing out for 4. That does change the clock on Matt from a 5-turn clock to a 4-turn clock, notably. And just holding up all of that mana. I think Tiki has 2 cards in hand. Did Tiki play a land that turn? Tiki did play a land. So either Tiki is super flooded and only has lands in hand, or is holding up some more instant speed trickery. Tiki's board is looking a little bit sparser here, though, with only Tempered Oncolim and Breaker of Cities / the Soldier as blockers, because, Breaker of Cities has to be crewed to be used as a blocker. So if Matt could somehow kill... oh no, is swinging with both. No, swinging with all 3. So Vayne is taking minimum 3 damage here. And that's assuming that Tiki... Ooh, no, is going to have Raise the Alarm. Nice. So create some more soldiers as chump blockers, and we'll probably just chump block all 3. Or can crew Breaker of Cities. Oh no. Is going to just Tempered Oncolim, trade, have the Tempered Oncolims trade, and then chump block with both the soldiers. Is still definitely in a precarious position. Needs to have a way to be able to kill some of Matt's creatures, like start drawing to removal. Of course, I guess the thought is, as long as Vayne goes uninterrupted, Tiki can just keep crewing MX. Ooh, but Matt has another Tempered Oncolim to gain back some more life. And on end, I guess, yeah, Tiki did have 2 instant speed things. Just gonna Raise the Alarm once more. So it does have chump blockers. But yeah, can only kill Matt in 4 turns now. Well, it will be 5 turns if Tiki doesn't +1 the MX Dreadnought. So Tiki's going to crew the Breaker of Cities. This does make sense. It forces... he's going to +1 the Breaker of Cities. Interesting. Because this way, no matter what, Tiki will be getting an extra soldier token. Since the damage will be getting through. And swings out for 7. And even if Matt chump blocks here, Tiki will get a soldier token. So Matt is going to double block the Breaker of Cities with Sporeful Protector and Tempered Oncolim. This means he will not take damage, and the Breaker of Cities will die. Oh, actually, deals first strike damage to Spore Flow Protector. So Spore Flow Protector can't deal its normal strike damage to Breaker Cities. So it just ends up being that Spore Flow chumps Breaker Cities. Tiki doesn't get a token, however. But I think losing Spore Flow's ability to pump up his board really hurts Matt here. Tiki does have one card in hand. Didn't play a land last turn. Could have the third Raise the Alarm or another Whispers of the Entraki, in which case I think Matt is well and truly screwed because can't get over this like heaping pile of soldiers. And yeah, I forgot to get the soldier. So Matt's just gonna be all in on trying to kill this Vayne. Again, minimum 3 damage is getting through. Tiki doesn't have another Raise the Alarm here. So just gonna chump with the soldiers, and Vayne goes down to 4 loyalty. The problem is on the crackback here, Tiki swings out for 7. Matt is gonna tap 4 for a Wandering Wayfarer and a Sahai Wayfarer. Sorry, Wandering Warden and Sahai Wayfarer. Has a way wider board than Tiki, but Tiki really has Matt on the ropes because this MX Dreadnought is providing like a constant clock unless Matt can like either A, kill Tiki first, which, Tiki being at 20 is going to be hard even with Matt's humongous board, and is also going to be hard with MX Dread not having flying. So again, going to Vayne the Breaker of Cities. Matt can double block the Breaker again, or can just block with Wandering Warden. Okay, he's going to double block. I think probably kills Wandering Warden on the first strike. Yeah. And then main 2, Tiki's playing the Mercenary Autopilot. Really strong card. With the Death Touch and the Lifelink, that means it can profitably block Obstinate Bailout or like anything here. And the Lifelink is so good for Tiki, who is already like really ahead in life. I don't know, and the ability to just like because I think Matt's out was having like an Eli's Grit to be able to. I don't know if Eli's Grit is instant, so might not have been able to kill the MX Dreadnought, but have like a Collapse the Pillars or something to be able to kill MX Dreadnought, but Mercenary Autopilot can sacrifice itself to protect against that. So maybe Matt is what Matt's trying to do here is attack with everything to bait Tiki into blocking with Mercenary Autopilot, and then main 2 have some way to like a Collapse the Pillars or something to kill MX Dreadnought. So Tiki is not blocking with the Mercenary Autopilot. It's just going to let Vayne die. Main 2, Matt is tapping 3, Tempered Onclim, gain himself back some life. Is that Matt's third? Yeah, is that Matt's third Tempered Onclim? Really lucky hitting all of these Tempered Onclims in a row. Just being able to stabilize so well. Again, it's still a scary situation here, though. Tiki can no longer attack with Breaker of Cities because it doesn't get through this. Can attack with Mercenary Autopilot because then that forces, or like Matt, I guess Matt can trade with Tempered Onclim, so maybe not. I guess only attack with the MX Dreadnought, and then chip in for 3, and then that has Matt dead in 4 turns. Of course, Matt's board is so huge that Matt might just be able to stabilize here. Has Whispers. Gonna put it on the Dreadnought. If Tiki puts it on the Dreadnought, oh no, it's gonna create a sapling. I guess as blockers. I was gonna say if Tiki puts it on a Dreadnought, that only speeds up the clock on Matt by 1 turn, but Matt does have like so many attackers. So I guess the thought is just buy enough time with blockers, to be able to keep getting in damage with this MX Dreadnought, which I think makes sense. So yep, the clock is at 3. So interesting. Matt is going to be swinging out with the Tempered Oncolum, Wandering Warden, and his second Tempered Oncolum. Of course, Tiki could block Wandering Warden with the Mercenary Autopilot, but no, I think it's going to save Mercenary Autopilot as like a single use. I need to gain life really badly right now, or I need to save my MX Dreadnought. But yeah, Tiki is going to take a hammering there, going to take 6 damage. So Tiki is dead in 2 turns if Tiki keeps taking that kind of damage. Ooh. And Digital Witness lets Matt re-upload the Tempered Oncolum, yeah, in his grave. Staying alive. And has the 4th Tempered Oncolum from his hand. This is such insane luck on Matt's end. Especially because next turn he can download the Tempered Oncolum and then replay it. And then look at how large Matt's board is right now. I think if Matt is for blockers, but I think if Matt just swings out next turn, does he just kill Tiki? Ooh, okay, so has Mecha Contract allows it's basically a tutor for any vehicle or a pilot. Pilot are as a new creature type for basically a creature that cares about crewing vehicles. Atari's amplifier here is just the nut because it turns into a 5/5 lifelink. Okay, so Tiki's actually going to tutor for another MX Dreadnought. I don't know about this though because this does make sense in the sense of if Tiki can survive through next turn, Tiki wins because of the double MX Dreadnoughts. Because it just does 6 damage this turn, 6 damage next turn, Matt dies. But wait, we know that that's not the case because Matt is just gonna download the Tempered Oncolum next turn, replay it. Matt's board is so huge that does this just kill Tiki with only 2 blockers? Let's see, assuming that you block Obstinate Bailout and Wandering Warden, Tiki takes 3, 5, 8. Yeah, Tiki just dies. Tiki does not have enough blockers. See, Tiki's saying GG. I really feel like Tiki should have gotten an Atari's amplifier last turn and then just crewed it with the Mercenary Autopilot. That would have been Tiki would have been able to gain life off of 5 life off of the Atari's amplifier and maybe stabilize, while just continuing to chip in with MX Dreadnought. But yeah, Tiki is conceded here. So Matt on MonoGreen aggro takes a 2-0 over TikiShades on white-black vehicles. Good games to both players. For now, this is Caillou, signing off.